So this one's going to be all about the car that you see behind me, how I found it, the process of buying a car in Thailand if you're a foreigner, and especially the process of buying a car if you don't live in a major city, as I don't. So hopefully this might be helpful to someone. It's just my experience, and as always, do your own research because the rules change all the time and I am just some dude on YouTube. Maybe I'm wrong. And right now, as we speak, I am actually on the mainland. I got here about 25 minutes ago, and this is Donsak Pier. I found this car online on a website called one-to-one.com. Now, yeah, it's got private sales, but it's also got all the dealers sort of putting up all their cars. So that this dealership had about 25 cars up. It's based in Bangkok. I suppose I should probably go back further than that. Buying a car when you live in Samui is a bit of a pain in the arse because there's not much of a selection, and what there is overly priced because there isn't much of a selection, so people can get away with charging a bit more. And so for the past several months I've been looking all around the south of Thailand. I was basically willing to go anywhere about 3 hours from where I'm standing right now, and I just couldn't find. So I was looking in Nakhon Si Thammarat, Suratani, as far down south as Hajai, and obviously if you go that far you want to make sure you're buying it really. And so I started looking further afield, and Bangkok is where the best prices are and the best selection, as you'd imagine. Getting to Bangkok's not easy from Samui. Well, it is easy, but it's expensive. There's flights, but it's very expensive. And this time of the year in particular, in fact I just read an article today saying that the next 52 flights in a row are already fully booked, and they're charging sky high prices as well because we're coming into the Songkran time. So yeah, anyway, look, I didn't want to spend that kind of money just to go up and look at cars, and then I had to drive back down, and I've got work and stuff, so my time to do these things is... So anyway, look, I rolled the dice and I decided that I was going to buy a car, which I would never do back home, but I decided I was going to buy a car without ever seeing it, without ever driving it, without ever meeting the people that were selling it. I was just going to do a bit of online research and then see which one I thought was the best and pick it. So this went on for months because I wanted to make sure I was getting a decent deal, make sure I was getting the right one for the right price. And there was quite a few people that I did talk to, but then it was always like the mileage wasn't right, or there was something, there'd always be something, some reason why I didn't want to take it. And so finally, a few weeks ago, I stumbled across the car that I've now gone and bought, which is down there. All right, ready? Easy, 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 easy. So I saw this car was available at a dealership in Bangkok, and they had about, I think it was 25 cars for sale, and I checked them out online, and their rating on Google's 4.7, so I knew they weren't just, you know, complete criminals or whatever. 2019, 25,000 kilometres, 24,523 as I sit here now, one owner. So got in touch and chatting away, everything was all right. In the end, decided to pay the deposit, and then they said obviously they had to send it down. There was a lot of negotiating and talking, but anyway, in the end I've decided I'm taking it. I paid them the deposit, and they sent me the receipt and what have you, and then they said we need this paper, that paper, the other paper, another paper, another paper, some other paper, some paper, a bit of paper, more paper. So the first big delay was the paperwork, because in Thailand the car or bike that you buy in has to be registered in the country that, or in the state that it's from. So it doesn't have to be done in the state that the car's from, but if not, then you have to change the number plate to the state that you're actually from. Now, in my case, that would mean going across to the mainland in Suratani, and it's all done in Thai, which means last time, for example, when I bought a bike, I needed a Thai person. So I actually paid them to go for me. Now, the fee and the process was really easy. But on this occasion, because I haven't actually met the people or seen the car, obviously they would want all the money before they were willing to send the car down for me to transfer it a week later. They might not have even been willing to do that, because obviously if I had, let's say, crashed the car or done something before it had been transferred into my name, or gone to rob a bank or whatever, so they probably would have wanted it in my name already anyway. And as I hadn't seen the car, the best deal that we came up with was that I would pay them half in advance, and then when the car got down here and I saw that it was all good, I'd pay them the other half then. So once I paid the first half, they transferred the car into my name with half still owing. What are you eating now? Please, just stop eating shit. What's wrong with these two dogs? They get fed well, but they will eat any old shite. So to buy a car in the first place in Thailand, you either need to already own like some property and have a yellow book or something in your name, or have a long-term visa, like a work permit or something. So you have to go to the immigration to get this document that basically you have to say to them, I'm planning on buying a car or a bike. Then they give you this document. They give you this letter basically that says you definitely do live where you've said you live. It's called a certificate of residence, this piece of paper, and it used to only take a day to get, but now that tourism is the way it is, at least in Samui, it takes a full week. I had to send them obviously my passport, my work permit, all the correct pages, visa stamps, stuff like that. That's normal. Signed copies, obviously not the originals, and along with them I also had to give a piece of paper that more or less gave them power of attorney, so that they could go and transfer the car into my name. So they sent me the copy of the blue book with my name now in it, and on the right hand side it clearly states that this car is from 2018, not 2019. Now again, here's a little tip for you to look out for. If you're buying a car in Thailand, check out the date of manufacture. Make sure you're checking out the date of manufacture, because it's standard practice in Thailand, and I knew this already, but I still had a problem. It's standard practice in Thailand to put the year that the car was first registered, when someone bought it. So if a car was built, for example, in 2018, but no one actually bought it until, say, January 2020, when the people who were trying to sell it put it up, they'll put it up as a 2020, because they don't count the years that it's sat in the lot. Now, as I tried to explain in the problem that I've just had, if I stay at home for the next year, I'm still a year older, all right? Just because I haven't done anything, I don't stop aging. And it's the same for the car. It's sat there waiting for someone to build it. Its engine's a year older, whether it was being driven or not. The things, they're all a year older than I thought, because as the book said when I got it, 2018. Just to be clear as well, the ads, so on one-to-one.com there is a section that clearly states year of manufacture or manufacture year, and most, I'm sure some of them don't, but most of the dealers, and I've found several examples of this, if they're selling a car that was registered in 2019, they'll put 2019 all over the ad, but in this one box they tell the truth, because manufacture is manufacture, right? It's not register. And so I've found several examples of cars that will say 2019, but then when you click on it, on the manufacture bit, it says 18 or 17 or whatever. The people I bought this car from didn't do that. They put 2019 in the year of manufacture, and throughout our text exchanges never mentioned that it was a 2018 at any point. So by this point I've paid for half of the car, and the car's already been changed into my name, but it's not the year that I thought it was. Now they don't accept any responsibility for this, which sort of annoyed me, because I just wanted really them to accept what they've done and maybe just offer some sort of small discount as a sorry, and they wouldn't, and they wouldn't even accept that. They were basically saying, you're wrong, and I'm like, I'm not wrong, because look, like, here's other companies that have done it, and manufacture means manufacture, it doesn't mean registered. But they wouldn't back down, and so I had a Thai person dealing with them for me, so I don't really know what they were saying. I only know what I was being told, but the message that got back to me was, again, in the ad it said a full 100% refund for 7 days if any issues, right? So as you might expect, that 7-day refund was really only for technical faults, things like the gearbox falling out or the engine failing, not really the sort of thing that we're talking about here. Unsurprisingly, they said, look, before it had one owner, now it's got two. We've got to take you back off, which is going to take time and money, blah, blah, blah. the amount of money that they expected to compensate themselves with was ridiculous. They wanted 70,000 baht. So I said, you're telling me because you lied to me about how old this car was, you now want to keep 70,000 baht of my money for a car that I've never even seen? It's still in your lot. You've still got the keys to it. Again, this was through a middle person. I wasn't talking to them directly, but I woke up that morning thinking, do you know what, it's more hassle than it's worth, I'll just buy the car. And then when that happened, I was like, right, it's lawyer time. So I started talking to my lawyer who I bought the house with, and she was completely useless in the end. She recommended a company to me and then just stopped replying. So anyway, the company that she put me onto, I did get onto them, and I sent them, at first I called them and they said, you're going to have to register with us and then send us an email. So I registered with them and sent them an email, and then the email said, if we don't reply to you within, sort of like an auto response, and it said, if we don't reply to you within 15 days, call us again, basically. I couldn't wait 15 days. I needed answers. I needed this to end. So this was going on and on. Finally, the boss said, is there any chance we can talk? And so I got someone I work with to call him, and they had a big long conversation. So as the lady I work with said to me, if you really want to get this over the line, the two of you are gonna have to meet somewhere in the middle. Now, as it goes, I wanted the car. In fact, I woke up the day after all this happened, and my intention was to just call them and say, yeah, okay, I'll take it. And then when they said this 70,000 baht thing, I was like, okay, now you've made me annoyed and I don't want it anymore. But really all I wanted was some accountability on their part. Can you stop pulling me, please? All I really wanted was some accountability on their part, maybe some sort of small discount. He never actually said sorry or anything, as far as I'm aware. So by the end of that conversation, he had offered a sort of very small compensatory discount, which I decided to accept because I do want the car, and I could see that I was looking at a lot of hassle. And at the end of the day, because Samui prices are so high, and even off Samui, I'm still not good. The reason I picked this car, like anything in life, is because I thought, why'd you do anything? You do it because you think you're getting a good deal, right? So for a 2019, this was a phenomenal price. It was a phenomenal price. I was getting a great deal. I knew I could drive this round for the next year, and as long as nothing goes majorly wrong, sell it for a profit, a nice profit. Now it's a year older, so that changes my bargaining position. I had a short list of cars. Now, had I known this was 2018, I'm not 100% sure, although this still would have been one of the top contenders. I'm not 100% sure I would have bought this one. So it made a big difference to me. And the car looks all right. The car actually looks all right. So I'm happy with that. It seems like a genuine enough car, I hope. It's in good nick, very low mileage. It's still going for a not bad price, and by Samui standards a very good price. So it's time to go back to Koh Samui now after, I think it's been about 32 minutes now. And so that was 6 or 7 weeks ago now, and so far, touch wood, the car's given me absolutely no problems, not a spot of bother. Now, I have not left the island since, but I have been around it, I've been over the mountain, I've tested it out as best you can here, and it seems like a pretty genuine car. So we'll revisit this in about a year and see, did it hold up? So let's see in a year's time if I'm saying whether this was still a good investment or not. Touch wood it was. This dog, she just won't stop eating rubbish. She'll be getting sick now tonight. I've told her about 10 times to stop. Look, she can't help herself. Any old shite. Oi! Stop it! I'll let you know as things go, Alright girls, let's go home.